Welcome, everybody, once again to TFT Tarot for today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and this is me, Oberon, with my outlook on the emotional exchanges. It's my reading for relationships, love or otherwise, and, of course, about emotional feelings between ourselves. And I've revamped the reading so it's more about where you are in your own relationship status as opposed to a zodiac sign. So we're going to get into it. The reading is shorter, so I do start off with a card for the collective from the Universal Love Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. And I enjoy Tony's art on a number of oracles and tarot cards that I work with. But this is the one I like to use here for the emotional exchanges. Embrace. A new and exciting opportunity is about to come your way. Embrace it. You are also being asked to embrace the different aspects of your personality. Make a list of everything about you, the many facets and qualities that make you the unique person you are. Make no distinction between what you consider desirable or undesirable. Simply list everything that would describe you. Then embrace all these with love. Embrace all of who you are. The universe and all creation will then be able to fully embrace you. What a beautiful sentiment. That's really nice. I can't add to a lot of that. I realize that sometimes a lot of people don't feel that they should like the parts of themselves that other people don't like, and so they kind of shun something that maybe is really a good part of themselves just because it doesn't fit in with what other people feel is desirable, undesirable. It's kind of like what I've done with the hard eyes, soft eyes, meditative kind of aspect or situation where you look at yourself in a mirror and you let your vision kind of blur and unfocus, and you see yourself as that blur, that essence of energy or vibration, whatever it is. And then you turn that around and you ultra focus your look into yourself, and you examine yourself sharply and distinctly, every single bit of your face, every wrinkle, every gray hair, every twitch or smugness about your look. And so you try to come to the compromise between those, the idea that you're both of these, just like this technique here with Embrace. All right, so we're going to get on to the regular reading. And as always, I use the Modern Love Tarot by Ethany with artwork by Lucy Morningstar. It's a very much more new or normal take on relationships. So it's pretty much is modern love. Not one size fits all, so on and so forth. And rather than zodiac signs, these are the vibrations happening to you, I'm using this as a way of saying, if you're single, this could be happening. If you are seeking a relationship, but possibly already in one, this could be happening. Or if you're settled in a relationship. All of these have qualities that say there's a fungibility. You could be a single person who's not interested in being in a relationship, or don't think you are, but then maybe something happens. And of course, the other thing to consider is that any of these may just be about what really feels joyful and desirable to you at this time. It could be something else besides being a person. So I'm asking some questions, and we'll answer those in that respect then. And these questions are really simple. So let's start with the first one then. And that is, how can you be better at communicating your feelings? And of course, that would be in the sense of if you were interested in approaching or being approached, that kind of thing. So if you were a single person with not necessarily a relationship in mind, but you wanted to be better at communicating your feelings, how do you do that? And you're the King of Swords, so it's kind of like you go large. And the King of Swords is upright. And, I can't help but say, like, this is a person who looks like they really want to be of service in a way, too. So you are communicating by being brave, by being forward and direct, and not necessarily hiding, what you really are about. Now, if you are seeking a relationship, whether you're single or in a relationship, but you are seeking one, you could communicate your feelings by maybe slowing things down a bit. Maybe this is saying really there's something kind of inhibiting you in a way, and you have to decide if that affects you or not. Maybe you could be better if you could figure out what is sort of stagnate there. And so this is people seeking a relationship. Maybe this idea suggests that you need to be more assertive in some way, not just sort of sit there and mold. But now we ask, what if you are settled in your relationship, but you need to be better at communicating your feelings? And it's the moon. And I think the moon is saying, don't try to hide things. Don't try to be mysterious just because it's cool or something like that. Or consider that maybe people do really need to have a basis of knowledge in their communication with you. You have to be more transparent than you may have been. All right, so that was that question. And we're now going to move to the next question. And like I said, keep in mind, these are not necessarily about a relationship with people. They could be about a relationship with something else. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe it's something they just really enjoy, like a particular artist representation of some art. So, is what you seek available? Is it able to be looked towards or try to achieve as some sort of, situation, relationship? If you are a single person, this may not work out in the long run. There seems to be a lack of a future going on there. It could be that there's something just unattainable here. And so that applies to the idea of whether or not it is a relationship with a person. Maybe you're just too set in your ways if you're a single person or single-minded. But it could be that the object or thing that you want to happen or desire to happen just has a sense of being unattainable. Now, what if you are a seeking relationship person? Is what you seek available? Probably not. Not unless your intentions would be to try to be disruptive. Because this looks like the reversed Ace of Cups. And this says, unless something ended, it probably wouldn't be available. Unless there was some sort of pause or cessation of whatever else that person could be involved in, it's not likely to be available. And so it sort of gives you a feeling like you should just leave well enough alone, really. So what if you are already settled in your relationship? Is what you seek available? And it's the reversed Seven of Pentacles. So the reverse Seven of Pentacles says it is, but you have to transform it from a stage of some sense of idealism or longing or wishing, and really do what's necessary to move you closer. There still may be something that is kind of pulling back. I don't think that it's because there's another relationship they're involved in, but it's something that needs to be nurtured, and you need to figure out exactly how to do that. All right. So our final question for each of the categories is, how do we set healthy boundaries? How do we try to make ourselves feel exactly right? You know, like it's a Goldilocks moment. We're not too cold, we're not too hot, we're not too strident, we're not too shy or skittish. How do we set a boundary? And that boundary has to include the idea of not necessarily interfering or over resonating to somebody else's boundary for ourselves, no matter what our status is. So if we are in fact single, how do we set a healthy boundary? Maybe we want to remain single and not necessarily be involved in relationships. King of Wands reversed. We set a healthy boundary perhaps by withdrawing a little bit. Maybe we take off our helmet, our badge of sort of stridency, moving towards something. You know, the King of Wands can be a person who is ambitious, who wants to use their charisma and their willpower in certain respects to obtain their goals. And maybe this is saying we set a healthy boundary by not being that so much, by being a little bit, you know, more accessible to people in the sense that we're not driven by a goal. What if we are seeking a relationship? How do we set a healthy boundary? I guess you have to know how to advance, where and when. You have to control the flow of the energy. If you're seeking a relationship, there may be more than one situation you're balancing, and the Chariot can be about how we balance our resources and energies in the service of the goals we set for ourselves. So that. All right then, so what if we are settled in our relationship? How do we set the healthy boundary? And I think we gotta kind of lay down the law. Ha ha ha. B-52s, lay down the law. All right. It's really about, you know, maybe the sense of proceeding with a sense of order. It's not saying being a conformist, but if the shoe fits, I mean, maybe there's a certain protocol that needs to be followed when we're setting a boundary. Maybe we have to tell people up front, this is what you can expect, you know, of me, you know, moving into any situation, and either as a relationship with a person or with some situation that I kind of work through the normal channels. Hey, it works for some people. All right. So now our final question is the question for everybody, regardless of their status of single, seeking, or settled. And that question is, what can each of us do to promote universal love, unconditional care, kindness, compassion towards people? How can we all be better? How can we be kinder, nicer to our fellow human? One card. It's the Four of Cups. And this particular version of the Four of Cups says, be that person that maybe is not afraid to want something more than just amusement or entertainment or what everybody else is doing. Choose something better or wait for that choice to be manifest. Wow. How's that? All right. Well, that was great, I think. So I thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to watch the happy hour. And that's tomorrow at its normal, regular, usually, time of 10 o'clock a.m. Come get a happy message of positivity, possibly divine origin, something to set off your day and your week ahead with loads of happiness and care. Join the Tarot Tribe. We're all there, loving each other's success and bearing each other's, pains if we must. And then on Sunday is, of course, Banshee's Material Matters, which is complete reading for the signs of the zodiac, determining a great economic forecast or warning us about what is ahead. There's some news you can use on the economy as well as her astrological briefs that kind of tell us why these things may in fact be happening. And that's Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Also, don't forget to watch us Sunday afternoons, our regular live stream from 2 to 4 p.m. It tends to fill up early, so if you're not there early, you will not make it. Usually you got to be there probably within the first 20 to 30 minutes. We only film for so long, so that's the way it is. All right, everybody, so I hope this reading meant something to you, and we will be back next week for another round of Oberon's Outlook of the emotional exchanges. Take care and bye-bye.